Alright, some quick bugs and fixes in patch 0.5.0. So starting with these bounty tokens that give a slight attack bonus to specific elements when you're using them. You will see that this is a newer video since the patch. They've also fixed the partner skills on PAL, so you can now use Libro's partner skill, for example. The damage seems to be around 10%. It varies a little bit depending on which element it is, but let's say around 10% more damage compared to the older videos I went through before they fixed this issue. It'll vary a little bit by element and which build you're using in your PAL. If you're using something like Siren of the Void. Then another bug that has returned is this starving the pals get glued to the ground bug. You'll sometimes find, especially if you're like in your base for a while, that pals just get stuck now. It's a bug that's happened before. You queue up work, they're still just sitting there. You can fix it just by lifting them or resetting them in the pal box. So it's just like a minor bug that has returned. A little bit of an inconvenience, really. Then we have another new old bug that might have returned. It's the Hexolite farming one, where you will visit your base and you will find your pals mining Hexolite. But it's a little bit weird because they shouldn't be. It should already be mined. So it doesn't seem like pals are mining Hexolite when you're not at the base. As I visited my two Hexolite mining bases, they're a little bit of chaos right now, but you can see that the pals start mining once I get there. And if I do check like the chest, how much has been mined, it seems like almost nothing has been mined. Like this base has one oil node as well, and a couple of ranches, and you can see thousands of oil and high quality pal oil and almost no Hexolite. So that seems to be some sort of bug, where you might actually just have to be in your Hexolite bases for them to work on this patch until it gets fixed. But at the same time, they did seem to fix these Hexolite or Chromite caves. I mean, so now you can return to Chromite farming. They did patch out the Chromite exploit for the dungeons that people were using, but fixing this seems like a decent thing anyway. So we now have these 4 Chromite nodes in these 6 caves spread around Faybreak. So flying around to these with a smoky is quite a lot of Chromite, like especially now that Hexolite isn't really being mined. It's more than you will use each day. You can farm up a nice stash, use smoky to triple the drops with a condensed smoky. And then something else is that this cave, you used to be able to build a base here, and then they removed that ability, and now they brought it back again, it seems. So now you can rebuild the base, at least here in the friendly Pal Tamer cave, and you just visit once per day and you mine. It gives you quite a lot of Chromite, and it can also be used as a sort of raid cheese base against Xenoloord, where the ads land on top of the dungeon or the cave and not like in the room here. They can still bug out and find their way in, but it can make the fight a little bit easier or more difficult depending on how cramped it gets if you're using a bunch of Jignesses or something. So you just take your smoky once per day. If you're not using it as a raid base, if you're just using it as a Chromite base, you can now go back and mine with smoky, using whatever mining method you prefer, really. The smoky will give you a high drop bonus. You can also increase that with the settings, but you don't really need to. It's a lot of Chromite each day, unless you're farming for a bunch of legendary weapons at the same time. It's 150 per Chromite node. If you're using smoky, you will get less if you're not using smoky, if you don't have a fully condensed one. But it adds up to 600 per day that you're doing this. If you're using a lot of base slots, or you even just build your breeding base or something in here, it can make it a little bit less grindy to farm Chromite. And then the good old double oil extractor trick. I saw some comments that it doesn't work anymore here at the volcano. But you can see that it does work. You just need to... This is the one that's like furthest north, I guess. You just need to sort of go from the one that's on the slope first. So you find this little corner here, and then you can sort of go up to the regular spot, that regular little dip. So you just go until the text changes and then move upwards, like forward and backward, side to side. Just wiggle around a little bit and you find it. And then for the other 2 nodes, I can just use the regular little dip location thing. Just got distracted by a couple of Ragnarhawks. So you find that little dip on the right side if you have your compass just between east and south. You find that dip, and then you go until the text changes. You might move a little bit forward and backwards, or it's just perfect from the start. This one has some annoying features next to it as well, like the tree, but now you can build a bit like inside the trees. They used to be you would destroy them, but you don't have to. They can be a little bit annoying though. We still look between east and south. You find that little dip, place it, go to the side, the text changes, then you go back and go a little forward and backwards. And that's those 3 oil nodes at the triple oil node base. So that still works in version 0.5.0. And then the UI bug with the work speed, it's still not fixed. So that's just something to keep in mind, that when you condense pals, they seem to get 10% more work speed from the stars, but it doesn't apply. So they still have the same work speed despite being 3 stars versus 0 stars with the same build. So that's it for these bugs and fixes in 0.5.0. Thanks for watching.